Summer Olympics is the biggest sport event in the world. In 2024, the Summer Olympics host will be Paris. Paris becomes the second city to host 3 times of this event after London. Before that, Paris hosted it in 1900 and 1924. Hosting a Summer Olympics involved huge amounts of money. According to new Wallet Hub analysis, the cost of hosting 2024 Olympics is estimated around $8.2 billion. This will be the 6th most expensive Olympics Games of all time. According to Oxford University paper, the most expensive Olympics is 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi, cost nearly $25 billion. Followed by 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo, which is delayed to 2021 due to COVID-19 pandemic. France invests nearly $3.2 billion on the infrastructure according to Wallet Hub. Estimated at $2.3 billion, covering enhanced security measures, health protocols, and other unforeseen expenses. About $3.5 billion is allocated for the development of sports venues, the Olympic Village, and other infrastructure projects. This portion is primarily funded by the French government and local authorities. The Paris 2024 Organizing Committee's budget is approximately $4.6 billion. Hosting an Olympics Games can increase the visibility through the tourism and creates jobs via the infrastructure investment. According to Wallet Hub, about 2.5 million tickets had been to overseas residents as of July 10 ahead of the Paris Games. $2.8 billion is expected to spend by tourists during their traveling to the Paris Games. The pros and cons of hosting Olympics Games has become hot debate around the world. Olympics can stimulate the local economy through increased tourism, job creation, and infrastructure development. It provides an opportunity for cities to showcase their culture and attract investment. The Games offer global exposure, putting the host city in the spotlight. This visibility can lead to long-term benefits for tourism, trade, and international relations. The Olympics drive investments in transportation, sports facilities, and urban development. These improvements can benefit residents long after the Games conclude. However, hosting the Olympics also pay an expensive price to the host city. The investment on building the new stadium, facilities and infrastructure projects often exceed initial budgets, leading to financial strain for the host city. In the end, the host bear a huge burden and take many years to clear the debt. Besides the host, International Olympic Committee, IOC, also contribute part of the budget to Organizing Committee for the Olympic Games, OCOG. IOC is a non-profit organization and funder entirely with private money. It was founded in 1894, 2 years before the first modern Olympic Games in Athens in 1896. According to the IOC's own numbers, 73% of its revenue comes from broadcasting rights, 18% comes from marketing rights, and 9% comes from other rights and revenue streams. The IOC keeps 10% to fund its own operations and redistributes 90% to worldwide athlete development and the Olympic Games. The IOC provides most of the budget for the Organizing Committee for the Olympic Games, OCOG, which contributes to some expenses. There are some examples where IOC contribute the budget to the OCOG. Before the 1970s, the funding of the Olympic Games primarily relied on a combination of governmental support, private donations, and limited commercial revenues. The financial model was markedly different from the extensive commercial and sponsorship deals that characterize the funding of modern Olympic Games. The Olympics was manageable for wealthy countries in Europe or the United States. The Games were publicly funded. Before television broadcasting, hosts didn't expect to make a profit. The 1970s marked a turning point due to rapid growth in participants and events. There are some specific examples when the host faced the financial challenges and remarkable moment in showing the economy power via the Olympics. 1932 Los Angeles Olympics. The Great Depression severely impacted funding for the 1932 Games. The Organizing Committee relied heavily on ticket sales and local fundraising efforts. They also utilized existing facilities to minimize costs. 1948 London Olympics. Post-World War II austerity measures meant that the 1948 Olympics were held with minimal expenditure. The British government provided support, and the games were dubbed the austerity games, focusing on frugality and simplicity. 1964 Tokyo Olympics. Marking Japan's post-war resurgence, the 1964 Games saw significant government investment in infrastructure, including the famous Shinkansen bullet train. Japan also attracted some corporate sponsorship, signaling a shift toward more commercial funding models. 1976 Montreal Olympic Games. The 1976 Montreal Olympics is a disaster for the host. The total revenue of the Games is $606 million Canadian dollars, $383 million Canadian dollars in operating expenses for hosting the Games, and $1.21 billion Canadian dollars in capital expenditure includes the investment in venue construction. This event is initially budgeted at $300 million, ended up with a staggering $1.5 billion deficit. This substantial debt was primarily due to poor planning, corruption, and cost overruns related to construction delays, especially in building the Olympic Stadium. Originally budgeted at $120 million, the stadium's construction costs skyrocketed to $1.7 billion, 13 times the initial estimate. This substantial increase contributed to the overall debt associated with hosting the Games. The stadium, along with other Olympic facilities, was responsible for much of the debt. As a result, the city of Montreal carried a debt of $200 million Canadian dollars, while the province of Quebec shouldered $790 million Canadian dollars of the financial burden. The total debt reached $1.5 billion, which took Quebecers nearly 3 decades to fully repay. To address this debt, 2 major sources of income were utilized: Olympic Lottery and Lotto Canada. In 1974, the nationwide Olympic Lottery was created to fund the Olympics. The Olympic Lottery, extended by the Parliament and later transformed into Lotto Canada, contributed to paying off part of the Games deficit through 1979. It has since generated millions of Canadian dollars for amateur sport. Although the model does not generate enough revenue to cover the cost, but this model is successfully adopted by future host cities to fund Games operations. For example, Los Angeles in 1984 and Atlanta in 1996 relied completely on private money to fund their Games. Provincial tax on tobacco. Quebec raised a provincial tax on tobacco to repay the debt, which was fully settled by 2006. Despite the financial challenges, the 1976 Montreal Olympics left a lasting legacy, both in terms of infrastructure and economic impact. The $1.6 billion Canadian dollars expenditure generated an estimated additional gross national product of $1.5 billion Canadian dollars, with significant direct and indirect tax revenues. Tourist spending during the Games further contributed to the local economy. Transition to modern funding models. 1984 Los Angeles Olympics Games. After Montreal, it is harder to find any cities willing to host the Olympics. Los Angeles becomes the only host after Tehran withdrew in June 1977 due to policy changes following the Iranian Revolution and a shift in the country's ruling system. 1984 Los Angeles is considered most successful Olympics Games as it gains $215 million profit. This Olympics marked a turning point in Olympic financial management. After the financial challenges of the 1976 Montreal Games, Los Angeles adopted an effective financial model that became a blueprint for future editions. Los Angeles's committee does not allow any new sporting structures to be built. Instead, they modified and upgraded existing venues. The Games relied on private corporate funding, which allowed for low construction costs due to the modify existing infrastructure. This strategic combination generated a remarkable profit of over $250 million. Another source of income is from the television networks paid for exclusive broadcasting rights. The 1984 Olympics were widely televised, reaching a global audience. ABC secured the exclusive rights to broadcast the 1984 Summer Olympics in the United States. The price for ABC's 180 hours of television coverage was a whopping $225 million. Los Angeles demonstrated that responsible financial planning could lead to a surplus. Their innovative approach, including private funding and sponsorships, set a precedent for subsequent Games. Host cities began prioritizing cost-effectiveness and sustainability. Los Angeles 1984 pioneered a sponsorship program that exceeded expectations. By guaranteeing exclusivity in specific categories, they secured contributions from 34 companies, creating a model for the International Olympic Committee's commercial initiative, the Olympic Partner Program. 2004, a Greek tragedy. The 2004 Athens Olympics cost nearly $11 billion, double the initial budget. This figure doesn't even include major infrastructure projects completed at inflated costs. The rush to finish construction led to significant overspending. Few years later, more than half of the Athens Olympic sites are rarely used and even empty. These include facilities like a baseball diamond, a canoe and kayak course, and arenas for sports like table tennis, field hockey, and judo. Some speculated that the overspending nearly $15 billion in Olympics caused the financial crisis in 2004. Economists estimated more than $56,000 per household is shouldered by Greek taxpayers ever since. The Olympic Partner Program, TOP. In the early 1980s, Juan Antonio Samaranch became the IOC president and recognized the need to improve the organization's financial situation. Peter Ueberroth, chairman of the Los Angeles Olympic Organizing Committee, implemented a groundbreaking approach for the 1984 Olympics by limiting sponsorships and demanding high fees. Samaranch and his associate, Dick Pound, realized that the IOC possessed a valuable asset, the Olympic symbol and its rights. They aimed to enhance IOC finances through strategic initiatives. When the Olympic program, TOP, was established, emphasizing a limited number of exclusive corporate partners. Each top sponsor received exclusive rights to use the Olympic symbol in advertising during their sponsorship period. Top I, 1985-88, generated $96 million with only 8 corporate sponsors, transforming the IOC's financial outlook. Subsequent top cycles, Top 2 to Top IX, saw 10-14 sponsors per Olympiad, contributing substantial sponsorship dollars. Top IX alone generated over $2 billion. Companies continue to invest significantly in TOP, with some paying over $300 million US for the period. The IOC allocates most TOP revenue to various arms of the Olympic movement. Organizing committees, winter and summer, receive funds to manage operating expenses. National Olympic committees and international federations also benefit. This program grants exclusive global marketing rights to a select group of multinational companies for the Summer, Winter, and Youth Olympic Games. Through their support, these partners provide the foundation for staging the Olympics and help athletes from over 200 nations participate on the world's biggest sporting stage. Top partners enjoy category-exclusive marketing rights, meaning they have exclusive access to promote their products and services related to the Olympics. These rights cover not only the Summer and Winter Games but also the Youth Olympic Games. Through their support, Olympic partners play a crucial role in the staging of the Games. They contribute to helping athletes from over 200 nations participate on the world's biggest sporting stage. The 12 top partners for Turn 2017-2020 are Alibaba, Atos Origin, Bridgestone, Coca-Cola, Dow Chemical, General Electric, Intel, Panasonic, McDonald's, Omega, Procter & Gamble, Samsung, Toyota, and Visa. Sponsors like Alibaba, Allianz, Atos, Bridgestone, Samsung and Toyota have already signed up for Top X 2021-2024. Five sponsors are now on board for Top 11, 2025-2028, and 2 have signed up through Top 12, 2029-2032. 2020 Tokyo Olympics Games. COVID-19 pandemic struck the Tokyo Olympics in 2020 and caused the Games delayed for the first time in the history. The decision to ban spectators prevented ticket revenues, resulting in a significant financial setback. Over 320 COVID-19 cases were linked to the Olympics, affecting athletes, officials, and staff. Japan spent $13 billion in total, and it is borne by the government of Japan and the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. Despite being held without spectators, nearly 80% of the Tokyo 2020 Games' economic effects had already materialized before the event. Applying the average economic growth rate seen in countries hosting Summer Olympics since 1984, Japan's GDP would have received a boost of 9.2 trillion yen over 3 years leading up to the Games and 1.7 trillion yen in the Games year alone. Infrastructure development significantly contributed to these impacts, with empirical data suggesting that around 7.5 trillion yen of GDP growth had already occurred by 2019. The absence of spectators resulted in significant losses, estimated 90 billion yen loss due to no ticket sales. Hosting the Tokyo 2020 Games without spectators led to a reduced GDP boost of approximately 0.3 trillion yen. Overall, the decision to exclude spectators may have caused a 1.4 trillion yen GDP loss compared to a full-scale event. Despite no spectators, the state of emergency during the Olympic period depressed GDP by approximately 1 trillion yen. Even if hosting without spectators boosted GDP by 0.3 trillion yen, the net effect remained a 0.7 trillion yen loss due to the emergency. Come back to the 2024 Paris Olympics. The organizing committee CEO Etienne Thaubois confirmed that the Paris Olympics are running to budget. Unlike previous Summer Games, Paris expects to at least break even financially. They estimated around the cost of the Games is $9.7 billion. While the 2024 Paris Olympics have a substantial budget and multiple revenue streams that suggest the potential for profitability, the ultimate financial outcome will depend on effective management, economic conditions, and the ability to attract and engage both sponsors and spectators. The focus on sustainability and legacy projects is intended to ensure long-term benefits that extend beyond the immediate economic impact of hosting the Games. We wish Paris 2024 is a successful Olympics Games.